So we want to take off where we left off last week after our Reclaim Masterclass, where we shared so many golden nuggets with the women that attended. And also we uncovered a lot of things that for a lot of people were eye-opening, such as the fact that a lot of them had the realization that all this time they had been looking outward for the solution or for the answer or for the healing, when everything that they had to do was look inward and maybe start questioning themselves. Maybe it's me, not saying who is the problem, but it's me who is responsible for digging into my subconscious, digging into myself and digging into my heart to see what is really making me attract these types of relationships, these toxic patterns, because it's always the same thing. It's always the same pattern, but different people, different bodies, but the same issues always arising. So there comes a point in most of our healing journeys where we start questioning ourselves, why does this keep happening?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah. And I'd like to make the distinction that a lot of us, and I know that I was in this spot at one point, we might have been victim to a circumstance or something that happened to us. But the way we respond, we can take a victim mindset or a empowered mindset or a victor mindset, right? And so we shared Unbreakable, which is an 8-week online group coaching program. And Unbreakable was channeled through me from God. It like landed in my head of just as women, we need to have the tools and the skill set to be able to handle the things that we go through in life, right? And this applies majorly to relationships because so many of us have experienced toxic relationships, toxic upbringings with our family, toxic family dynamics. And so Unbreakable gives you the toolkit and the resources that you need to heal and break free and not take the victim mindset of this happened to me, I'm powerless, there's nothing I can do about it, but rather, yes, this happened to me, but it also happened for my growth, for my healing, and I'm going to use that as fuel to build myself up, to heal my heart, to heal my mind, my soul, my spirit, and live life, take back my life. Because how like icky does it feel to know that like we were treated poorly by somebody else and then allow them to get away with that by living in a place of disempowerment.
yeah.
I think a lot of abusers or, people with narcissistic tendencies, they don't want to see other people succeed because that threatens their sense of self and they're very deeply insecure.
Mm-hmm.
So what we get to do is build ourselves up and break free from that. That is the best revenge body. It's
Yeah.
like embodying your healing, embodying the power, embodying the wisdom that comes from those experiences. And so in Unbreakable, that's what we're doing. And Unbreakable is usually just online modules, but we're now offering live weekly coaching calls with both of us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we can really hyper focus and do hot seat coaching and come together as a sisterhood of women who are diving into their healing, who take accountability for their healing, who want the support of having two women who have already been through that. And while healing is an ongoing process, I can speak for myself, and I think that probably I could say the same for you, that we're pretty
Yeah.
much on the other side. There's still healing that has to happen, but we're not in the trenches of it.
No.
And so having two women on your side to co-regulate, to hold space for you, to see you as you are, like that is such a beautiful gift. There's so much healing that happens in a space of co-regulation.
I completely agree. And it's so important to be in community because we don't heal when we find love, we heal in love.
Mm-hmm.
What does healing in love mean? Healing in community. because it's so hard to heal alone. I tried, but I
Yeah.
couldn't do it. I
Yeah.
needed community around me. I needed, if it wasn't for the support that I found from women like you, from my own healers, from my own coaches, I don't know if I would have been able to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, I asked God for guidance. I asked God for strength. It was His power and His strength that fueled me and propelled me forward. But I believe that it was also through Him that I found the support that I needed in this earthly realm, like in this physical realm. We need the guides, we need the people that are going to do His work on this planet. And I truly feel it in every cell of my being and in every bone of my being that I was put on this earth, and probably you feel the same way, to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe that when we go through trials so hard, like the ones we've been through, and when we face such darkness, like the darkness we faced,
Yeah.
I think that once we go through the fire, we come out of it with this urge in our hearts to really be of service and to help guide others who are going through the same type of pain or even worse, so that nobody has to go through it like we did, like so hard. That
Mm-hmm.
there are the tools, that there is the support, that there we are testimony that there is life at the end of the tunnel. Like there's light at the end of the tunnel, and there's life at the end of the tunnel, and that it doesn't stay dark forever.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that kept me going as well was seeing women who overcame the most horrific types of abuse that don't even come close to the type of abuse I endured, which was also very, very evil and horrible, and I don't wish it up on anyone. And it's not about comparison, but it's seeing that if people went through really, really hard and really dark situations, that I could do it too, that it's you can do it too, and it's that beacon of hope and that light of hope, seeing the example in others, that kept me going and kept me just showing up every day and doing the work every day, also taking accountability for my own part,
Mm-hmm.
because it's never just one side, right? We are not responsible for how a person acts or treats us, but we are responsible for allowing them to treat us that way.
Mm-hmm.
And when we take that accountability and that responsibility for our own patterns that we allowed, or why we allowed such type of behaviors against us and towards us, that's when the real healing begins, when we take accountability and responsibility for our own part
Yeah.
and for our own healing, which most of the time, if not, I could say all the time, stems from childhood, from our past selves, from our own consciousness and patterns that we grew up seeing as normal, and that our nervous system internalizes them as normal. And I know that this was my case.
Yeah.
My nervous system was used to specific type of reaction. And when I started healing the nervous system and started releasing the trauma from my body, then that's when I really reconnected to that essence of mine, of saying, no, this is not normal, this is not healthy,
Yeah.
this shouldn't be like this. And you cut the pattern from the root, so you don't keep attracting the same type of partner, just in different body.
Yeah.
It's you keep repeating the same patterns, but you don't realize that. And we want to become conscious of those so that we can remove them from the root, and that's what we do in Unbreakable.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add to that, Unbreakable was built for the woman who self-abandons. And there's no shame. I don't say that with shame because I was like a master of self-abandonment. I did it my entire life. And most of us learn to self-abandon when we're little girls. So that causes us to abandon our needs, our experience, our wants, our desires, our emotions in order to get safety and connection. So we're willing to sacrifice our authentic selves to get safety and security, or perceived safety and security in a relationship. So we're willing to essentially accept things that we might not accept
Yeah.
if we weren't self-abandoning. So Unbreakable really gets into why we self-abandon in the first place. Because if we're not self-abandoning, we might meet someone who's toxic, But you better believe we're going to catch it, and we're going to make the choice and the decision for ourselves. Like, all right, there's a red flag here. There's a big red flag here, and I'm not going to ignore it. I'm going to pay attention to it. Um, a personal story. So after my divorce, I took some time, like not to date or anything. And I was set up with someone maybe a year after. It was very brief. And he showed me a red flag almost immediately. And I was like, you know what? This is not going to work for me. And I cut it off. And I was so proud of myself after, because the old Lindsay who self abandoned would have overlooked that. And this time I was like, I don't like how that lands in my body. I don't like how that feels. And I don't need to be in this relationship. It's more important, or, it wasn't even a relationship, but it's more important for me to honor myself and my boundaries and not put myself in a compromising situation that would ensue trauma. And
Mhm.
it was so much easier to identify it, to pay attention to it, to recognize it, to name it, and then to walk away.
Yeah.
That was the first time I'd experienced that, because prior, give me all the red flags and I'd be like, okay, I'm here. Like I'm like completely ignore them. That's self-abandonment, because you're willing to overlook red flags to get your needs met, but those needs are needs that come from wounding. So when you heal the wounding, you don't have those needs, you stop self-abandoning, you build self-trust in yourself. You can trust yourself to make good choices. You can trust yourself to choose trustworthy people.
Yeah.
And this trickles out into all areas of your life. So we're talking about toxic romantic relationships, but it's also with your family, how to create boundaries. A lot of us, the original trauma was with our family of origin. And so, what you learn, what you take with you through Unbreakable, you get to apply into all areas of your life, all relationships, and you take that with you. It's not something that just lasts for 8 weeks. These are tools and a skill set that you're learning of communication, of identifying your needs, of healing your core wounds, of building self trust, regulating your nervous system, which is always first, somatic tools that are helping you regulate through all of that trauma so you can get to a place where your body feels safe to process and heal that trauma. And then
Mhm.
you take that with you through life, and you're never the same again,
No,
ever.
no. And you touched upon something I wanted to follow up on, that it's not just about relationships. I also saw myself after getting out of this relationship becoming so much easier for me to speak up
Mhm.
whenever I find something that I find unfair, and that I feel my boundaries are being crossed. Not only, like I said, not in relationships, it's everywhere. It's going out and paying for a meal, and if the meal is comes cold, and you're like, I'm not just gonna sit and
Those are big things.
yeah, but most people are so afraid to speak up for
Yeah.
themselves,
Yeah.
saying this is not the way that I asked for it, and can you please heat it up, or
Right.
something that is not done right. Having the courage to stand up for yourself, to
Yeah.
set clear boundaries, because at the end of the day, who is going to be with you 24/7? You.
Mhm.
You have to be your own protector, to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, we are women, but we all have that duality, that masculine and feminine energy. So our inner masculine, our protector, has to come up.
Yeah.
We cannot self-abandon like that and just allow our wounded feminine to rule the show. And our wounded feminine is the one that puts herself in situations that are self-abandoning, that are in people pleasing, just to keep the peace and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's really about embodying that warrior essence within us without needing to be aggressive to assert ourselves, but rather a firm and loving boundary, which comes from us being connected to our bodies. Because when we listen to our bodies, to those red flags that don't land well, we immediately detect the cues, and then we stop second guessing ourselves
Yeah.
and making excuses for poor behavior, or rationalizing or talking ourselves out of situations that we know are not good for you, which is what I did. Always made excuses, try to rationalize the way they acted or the way they treated me because, oh, they went through so much trauma already, because they grew up in a household that wasn't loving, because they were abused, or they, no, it's not an excuse
Right.
for poor treatment. We all grow up with trauma. If you're in this human existence, you grew up with trauma, even if it was minor. But it's not an excuse to treat people poorly and to abuse others,
Yeah.
because we're not that type of people. And we also grew up with trauma. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So I want to touch on the type of woman that Unbreakable is for. Do you want to start?
Yeah. Oh, Unbreakable is for the type of woman who is done with playing small and with pointing the finger outwards, and for taking accountability. And it's not pointing that finger inwards, but really looking inside and taking responsibility, full responsibility for the part that we have to play in our own abuse, in our own self-abandonment, and really looking at ourselves in the mirror and saying to ourselves, why did I allow this to happen? What is this experience teaching me? And what can I do to avoid this happening in the future?
Yep.
And be willing to go all in.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to just drop the answer in your lap and do it for you. So besides taking that accountability, the responsibility and the commitment to follow through. Because every process that is worth it, it's not a snap in the finger and it's just going to happen like that.
Yeah.
Is having the courage to show up for yourself every day and to have that commitment to yourself, because at the end of the day, it's just a commitment to yourself.
Yeah.
So if we expect and we're looking for our soulmate and we want that type of commitment, another person to show that type of commitment, and we cannot show it to ourselves, how can we expect to find our soulmate if we
Right.
can't even show that type of commitment and self-love to ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And when we start, and when I really started to internalize that and started to fulfill the promises that I made to myself and to follow through my own word, the promises that I kept to myself, it can be as small as saying, I'm going to cook a healthy meal for myself. I'm going to go to bed half an hour early. I'm going to go to the gym, even if I'm not feeling like it, if I don't have the energy I said I would go.
Mm-hmm.
And starting to fill up those gaps of the saying and the doing. When we stop the self-abandonment, we really follow through our word and the promises that we make to ourselves and start showing up to ourselves with ourselves every day.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll also add, when you were talking about if you want to attract that, a person who is, deeply committed to you and is just the person that you want, like the person you desire and has the characteristics that you want, you also have to embody that too. And the other part of that is the nervous system. I've experienced it and was consciously aware of what was going on at the same time. So it's a wild dynamic to see. But I could see firsthand how something was not safe in my nervous system, but I craved it so deeply. And it was a healthy relationship. And I kept pushing it away because it was not anything that I had ever experienced before. And so when we open ourselves up to what we actually want from a conscious place, not choosing from an unconscious place, we have to recalibrate our energy and our nervous systems to feel safe in that place. Some people can do it and they don't have to do, much work. And then there's other people like maybe you or I who it's like a little tougher for.
Yeah.
And it's like a process. And
Yeah.
so we have been through the trenches in it. If you're a brain surgeon, you have to practice being a brain surgeon. You have to get in there and actually do it. You can't just textbook read how to be a brain surgeon. And so I know you and I both have been head deep in experiencing trauma, doing the healing work, being aware, taking accountability, taking responsibility. And so that is what we're sharing with everybody else now who is ready and knows that it's their time to rise.
Yeah,
And that is
absolutely.
what you get in Unbreakable, is all of the tools to do that. So
Yeah. And like you said, it's not just tools that you take with you for 8 weeks, but it's tools that you carry in your toolbox for a lifetime and not even outside of you. You
mm,
internalize them so
yes,
that they become your go-to support systems when you encounter a situation in the future, because chances are that if you are incarnated in this human experience, you're going to go through trials.
yeah.
But this time you're going to be better prepared. You're going to be more aware. You're going to be reassured and certain that you have everything within you to support yourself through anything. That is super empowering.
So for anyone interested, Georgette and I are opening the doors. I think it was November 17th,
Yes.
Monday, November 17th.
Mhm.
There is something so special about when I was in the trenches of my divorce. I had family around me and friends, but I still felt alone. And it wasn't until I hired this one therapist who told me, Lindsay, what you're experiencing is abuse. This is narcissistic behavior, and called it out and named it and was able to regulate with me and saw me for where I was, for like the darkness that I was stuck in, and validated what I was experiencing. I cannot tell you how much power that has for healing.
Yes.
And so we are opening the doors to Unbreakable, and we are wanting to call in the women who are ready to heal and that know that they need the support to do that. You are going to be so held, so seen, so loved by us. We are going to love on you. We're there
Yeah.
to help work you through your traumas, your triggers, your woundings, whatever it is that you're wanting to work through. And so, yeah, November 17th, that's a couple weeks away.
Mhm.
And we would be so, so, so honored to have you. If you're interested, you can reach out to either of us. You can message us. That's probably the best way. And we are so excited to see you inside of Unbreakable.
Yes, yes. Send us a DM, send us a message, and we'll give you all the deets. And if you have any more questions, we'd be happy to jump
Yes.
on a call with you
Hmm.
also
Yeah.
to show you what it entails and just to answer any questions that you might have.
Yep.
All right.
Alrighty. Bye,
Yeah.
everybody.
Bye.